Review procurement laws to benefit contractors. Dialogue on self-determination for autonomous region. And 400 plus graduate from UPNG.
This is National MTV News with Bradley Valenaki.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for Monday's news. The National Procurement Commission is working to amend the national procurement laws to see that local companies get maximum benefit out of contracts tendered by the government. Currently, all public contracts valued below 10 million kina are restricted for only local companies to bid. This will be changed to 50 million kina, so only locals can bid for projects up to 50 million kina without competing with foreign companies. This was revealed at the swearing-in of 3 procurement committees today.
The current laws allow only local contractors to bid for contracts valued at 10 million and below, but the National Procurement Commission wants these to increase to 50 million kina.
We're working on an amendment. The government wants us to increase the threshold limit. That is to increase the threshold limit to about 50 million and many other amendments, so that nationals are given contracts valued less than 50 million. Currently, we have less than 10 million, so all the district and provinces, all your contracts should go to only national companies.
The National Procurement Commission facilitates government contracts worth over 5 million kina, and with the decentralization of functions to districts and provinces, so far 46 districts have had district procurement committees established and includes Nipa Kutubu and Komo Magarima, who swore in the board members today. These districts are allowed to procure goods and services worth 2.5 million kina and below. Provincial procurement committees can procure goods and services up to 5 million kina. NPC records show only 15 provinces out of the 22 have so far established provincial procurement committees. Apart from district and provincial procurement committees, special procurement committees have also been established, and Port Moresby General Hospital had its members sworn in today. These special committees can procure goods and services up to 1 million kina. Members of these committees thanked NPC, expressing how easy it will be for them to manage services at the district level.
So far we have been dealing with the CSTB and PSTB for all these years, and sometimes we have the projects being delayed and due to process and so forth. And then, but I see that this procurement committee taken back to the respective districts will help to speed up the projects on time.
And this is a relief to me and my treasurer and my project team in creating the district procurement commission in my district. That saves a lot of time in going into the provincial headquarters, bringing documents up and down.
The newly sworn members of these committees were also taken through on their roles and responsibilities as members of the committee. Ruth Rungula, National MTV News.
In an effort to end gender-based violence in the country, government departments, NGOs and development partners gathered for the inaugural National Summit to end GBV in the country. The theme, Now is the Time, United for Equality.
Back in my time, we started the parliamentary group.
The first national summit to end gender-based violence was an initiative of UN Women with support from NCD and other stakeholders. Participants also flew in from various parts of the country to show their support. The second day of the summit began with a moment of silence to remember the victims of GBV and perpetrators who are struggling to change. Two parliamentarians called for an end to GBV and the need to stand in unity.
Thank you today for showing up in such force and for standing united with all of us for equality and to end violence.
For those whose lives have been torn apart by violence in your childhood or are now as an adult, stand tall today with all of us at your side.
Various development partners, including the United Nations and European Union, said their views on GBV and the need to address the pseudo pandemic. According to the Australian High Commissioner, GBV is a global issue affecting women in many countries. For PNG, over 2/3 of women and girls have experienced some form of abuse, and the Australian government is committed to help address this issue.
Australia's Justice Services and Stability Development Program, the PNG Australia Policing Partnership, have provided women with greater access to justice, legal protection and support processes. And we hope to continue to support the PNG Constabulary in their very strong work in developing more gender-based response systems in police stations across the country.
Status of gender-based violence in the country and gender equality as a solution were discussed in today's session. This shows that the cost of gender-based violence in the country is high. Inequality was seen as the root of the high rate of GBV in the country, and adequate funding to effectively roll out policies to end GBV is also a challenge.
And for the first time, as we went through budget last time, I saw some good funding there to address issue, and we will seek to find some better ways to address these issues.
The session also aims to help participants understand the connection between ending GBV, equality and constitution, and to help participants understand the importance of ending GBV for the future of the country. Prime Minister James Marapa, in his keynote address, challenged all men to stand together to end violence at homes.
You don't need government to impose laws after laws. You can be the man in your own home today, to rise up today. If you truly want your country to rise up, if you truly want your country to be great, it is time we act as Christians should act. Christians must love, and love starts at home, and love stops violence.
The 3-day event, which started yesterday, will end tomorrow. Rayon Lakingu, National, MTV News.
Prime Minister James Marapa said his government is determined to see the autonomous region of Bougainville reach some sort of self-determination. Marapa reiterated this during a preliminary joint supervisory body meeting between his government and the ABG. President Ismail Toroma said he was pleased with the Marapa government's commitment to the proposed agenda. Adelaide Sirox Curry has the details of today's meeting.
Prime Minister James Marapa, along with the Deputy PM and relevant members of Parliament, engaging in talks with President Toroma and his cabinet ministers. The preliminary joint supervisory body meeting that took place here at the MSupply House was to allow the PNG government and the ABG government to discuss the agendas that will be discussed in the 30th of November JSP meeting. Amongst the agendas is the Bougainville peace agreement and where it fits post-referendum.
Issues between the two governments in as far as completion of the entire process of 2001 peace agreement. As you know, referendum was one important step defined in the 2001 peace agreement. Referendum is now concluded. Overwhelmingly, 98% voted for independence in Bougainville. But the 2001 peace agreement also defines the process going forward. And we will have that clarity as to final timelines and details in our meeting in Kokopo.
While Prime Minister James Marapa spoke clearly that his government wants to transfer needed powers to ABG as a part of the discussions that will take place in Kokopo JSP.
Here we've asked for whatever powers that ministers in national government and central government holds to be fully detached and transferred to Bougainville. And the relationship we will have with Bougainville will be our relationship will be at the constitutional level instead of at the organic law, at the ordinary act of parliament relation. We'll be relating to them at the constitutional level, and the definition and what really encapsulates that will be fully enlightened by our legal teams as we meet in Kokopo. And that's a level of relation we want to have with them. We're giving them the highest form of practicing self-governance that they can practice.
President Toroma saying the peace agreement stated clearly what is expected while noting the Marapa government's commitment.
You know, it's stipulated in the peace agreement there should have been the drawdown of powers, which we've gone past 15 years already. And suppose you look him, suppose all Naraplatupra government even honoring commitment belong all. I think Bougainville should be somewhere by now experiencing the self-governing before the actual date of the referendum. So with this meeting that we have, and we come out with joint statements, I mean, it's a way positive look this proper JSB, especially in regards to the drawdown of powers, because that will be a big help to Bougainville, and not only help, it's stipulated in the Bougainville Peace Agreement.
In Kokopo, important agendas on time frame of consultation, outstanding restoration development grants, SME funding, tax initiatives, and others are expected to be discussed.
First day will be really dedicated to looking at 2001 Peace Agreement, the constitutional matters relating to it, and establishing a time frame going forward. The next day, we will possibly sit and talk about all the other peripheral issues. We'll support them, how we help, and all this sort of things.
Timing as we move progressively, and then we can make sure we understand each other. And it's all about the spirit of the peace agreement, so that is what we are trying to maintain. The spirit of the peace agreement being brought forward by two government leadership, and then we have that actual time frame working towards that.
While Prime Minister James Marapa has stated that his government is determined to see Bougainville reach some sort of self-determination during his term, the question still remains on whether or not his government will pass the needed Act of Parliaments that will allow Bougainville that one step closer to independence. Adelaide Sirax-Kari, National MTV News.
Meanwhile, Parliament will sit tomorrow for the November session. Prime Minister James Marapa, speaking to MTV News, says while there were talks of a vote of no confidence, he sees no weight in it and is expected to deliver the 2021 national budget.
Our budget will not be different. Tough times. We're continuing on what we've started in 2019, 2020. And there'll be not too many surprises. We focus on 2021. In preparation, big ticket item that will be in 2021 is really preparing for 2022 elections. So not so much concerned about vote of no confidence. Members of Parliament are very intelligent. I can't belittle them by talking about vote of no confidence all the time. They know what to do in as far as parliamentary processes are concerned. It is within their domain and right to decide on who the leader of the choice is. At the moment, most members are with me, they have trust with me. We'll be running normal government business in November, then that is attending to our budget matters.
Among stories after the break, graduation day today for more than 400 students at UPNG. Welcome back. The University of Papua New Guinea held its graduation ceremony today with the theme Achieving Educational Excellence to Enhance Nation Building. Today's session is the first of 5 scheduled for the university's 65th graduation.
After months of waiting, the University of Papua New Guinea held its 65th graduation ceremony to honor over 400 students from the School of Business and Public Policy today. A sea of sky blue filled the Sejong Guys Auditorium as they waited for their names to be called, and when they would finally receive their degrees sealed inside what they commonly called bamboos. After all the speeches, it was time. They anxiously stood in line as their names were called one by one, and each walked up with pride to receive their hard-earned masters, bachelors, and diplomas. Some even danced. On the stands, parents and guardians cheered on proudly. While outside, more families and friends waited in the hot sun to celebrate with their loved ones graduating today. Today's session kicks off the university's 3 days graduation ceremony. Tomorrow we'll see students from the School of Humanities and Social Sciences graduating in the morning, followed by the School of Natural and Physical Sciences in the afternoon. The 65th graduation ceremony will conclude on Wednesday with the School of Law in the morning and the School of Medicine and Health Sciences to follow suit. Yana Zoriri, National MTV News.
The Independent Consumer and Competition Commission, or ICCC, has announced new fuel prices on average throughout the country. The changes for the month of November will include a decrease for petrol prices, while an increase for average for diesel and kerosene prices.
The change in indicative retail fuel prices came into effect yesterday and will see vehicle owners paying a decrease for petrol and an increase for both diesel and kerosene. The decrease in retail prices for petrol is attributed to the average decrease in its Singapore prices, while the increase in prices for diesel and kerosene are a result of increases in their Singapore prices during the month of October. As effective as of Sunday, the increase in prices for petroleum products include: petrol will decrease by 1.36 toya per litre, diesel prices will increase by 0.94 toya per litre, and kerosene prices will see an addition of 6.53 toya per litre. These prices set by ICCC are the indicative maximum retail prices, which resellers must choose to sell below the approved ICCC prices. Papua New Guineans are advised to report any resellers who may sell their petroleum products at prices other than the ones set by ICCC. Thakla Gunga, National MTV News.
Staff at the WOW Health Center are planning a sit-in protest over issues of deteriorating infrastructure, staff numbers and water supply. The Colonial Health Center in WOW has been condemned twice already, but has seen no maintenance to date. The health center is still operating with a staff number of 12, serving a population of over 40,000 people. The staff houses have also deteriorated and there is no water supply.
Me like mosem desla ausik me masenis living standard or living place blow workman M2 masenis or mas silip blow good environment or mas kamna sebi mol manweri hygiene blow health blow meri pikinini na oliet now em stablo risk so me pla like mosem des santim em masenis me pla I thinking lo step down now. Baimpla sit in rest. Baimpla no na bok. Mipla pilim pen in happens. Water supply no come inside lo house line to area blow housing too. Mipla no ka good pla tank blow drink water. Mipla pulma pen water lo bucket water. Mipla go lo all contaminated water lo outside all sources. Mipla pulma pen water come boil him drink wash him all plate cup sauce pen blow mipla unhygienic straight. So, me toko sem through me toki pla sem by me pla close to by me pla okiman pla strike blom pla malolo. Me pla stopping this service.
And now looking at the NESFund market report, the kina opened unchanged at 0.2860 US dollars in the interbank market this morning. At Bank South Pacific, your kina is buying 0.2785 US dollars, 0.3785 Australian dollars, 0.4069 New Zealand dollars, and 28.07 Japanese yen. Looking at the commodity prices at the New York close, gold is trading higher, coffee, cocoa, and copra closed higher, crude oil is trading lower, palm oil closed lower, copper closed higher, and on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed lower, the ASX 200 is trading higher, all ordinaries is trading higher. You're watching National MTV News. More stories after the break. Don't go away. Welcome back. There are enough medicines available to supply the health centers using an electronic system introduced by the government in 2019 called the MSupply system. This was the response from the manager of Lays area medical store, Michael Sabak. He told MTV News this after concerns were raised on the delay of medical supplies since August this year.
At Lays area medical store, the registration clerk, Lucy Barry, showed a proof of the orders she received from Kabum Health Center through an introduced system called the MSupply system by the Health Department.
The March April order, it's normal order submitted now. May June order blue
September.
Okay, more finalize tapa.
Come down yet.
But me no say why na me no receive no here me no show now. Network. The communication.
Lucy's record shows that in January 2020, the AMS did a push supply of medical drugs to Kabum Health Center because there wasn't any order made by the OIC. Lays AMS received orders from Kabum Health Center manually for the months of March and April. The medical supplies were packed and sent.
The 6 order within 1 year. We expect him 6 order block facilities every year. I'm scheduled. And from there, we plan of some 1 order like we plan looking to media top triple amount moon no got supply.
Supply. Meaning get
so we set them cost in this medical store record them we plan looking from there inside law boss plum plan amendim ikamlo here. Then you go upside now and blow dispatch area.
According to the officer of LD Logistics, company contracted by the government to distribute the medicines, the supplies for January to April was delivered to Kabum Health Center on the 17th of June 2020.
This guy is looking after the catchment area and people out here. In the paper I saw it's about 10 to 15,000 population catchment area again. It's a lot of people there. So the thing is, if only come like system to give, only come now, people help me and help out.
Lucia, true. Suppose only district only nobody
From May to October, Kabum Health Center faced a medicine shortage because the pharmacist was instructed to use this tablet to send orders using the MSupply system after undergoing a week training in Lay earlier this year by World Vision.
All facilities, one on province, all regions, low regions, low country. That's the only system we'll use. Placing water blow. So it really depends. I mean, it depends. Maybe network them out or battery loss la table them out. There is when about problem one time by posting this la water blow come.
The MSupply system is a global funded project introduced by the government last year that tracks all medical stocks level and which medicines are on order at the 5 area medical stores throughout the country. Meanwhile, Lays area medical store has all the basic drugs including antibiotic, painkiller, gauze and plasters. Julie Badui, Owa, National MTV News, Lay.
Turning overseas, Kamala Harris may be the first woman and the first person of color to be America's vice president. But her husband is also making history. Doug Emhoff is set to become the first ever second gentleman.
Been by Joe and Kamala's side throughout the campaign, their spouses Jill and Doug.
I would not be here without their love and tireless support of Jill.
And to my husband, Doug, I love y'all more than I can ever express.
Dr. Jill Biden, no stranger to the White House, serving as second lady for 2 terms under the Obama administration. Jill and Joe met on a blind date in 1975, marrying 2 years later. Joe's first wife and daughter killed in a car crash in 1972. Jill went on to raise Joe's 2 surviving sons as her own, the couple welcoming daughter Ashley in 1981. She's a lifelong educator, teaching high school, earning 2 2 master's degrees and doctorate along the way. As First Lady, Jill intends to continue her role as a community college professor.
If we get to the White House, I'm going to continue to teach. It's important, and I want people to value teachers.
Kamala Harris's husband, Doug Emhoff, the nation's first ever second gentleman, taking an active role early on, at times even serving as her bodyguard and biggest supporter.
Yes, let me get him. Hey, Dougie, we're going to have fun.
The couple met in 2013 while Harris was serving as California's Attorney General.
The Kamala Harris that I know, she wears Chucks and jeans. In fact, that's what she was wearing when I got down on my knees and asked her to marry me.
The couple's wedding celebrating their Indian and Jewish heritage. They share 2 kids from Emhoff's first marriage, Cole and Ella, who call Kamala Mamala.
Vice President will be great, but Mamala will always be the one that means the most.
As the Pacific prepares to deal with the inevitable cyclone seas, New Zealand is having to do some extensive work of its own on how to deliver aid with borders closed. Most Pacific countries remain COVID-free and shut off from the world to stop any case getting in.
Landfall with devastating impact. Pacific cyclones have been amongst the strongest in the world, and this season is predicted to hit some countries especially hard.
The Coral Sea, Vanuatu and particularly New Caledonia needs the warm water 26.5 degrees or warmer, and also it needs favourable winds.
New Zealand is usually first to swing into action, but with Pacific borders closed to protect their populations from COVID, it's posed a challenge for officials here and in the islands.
We're prepared to do contactless delivery of supplies, ensuring that we clean all the supplies before they leave New Zealand, they get landed on the ground and get delivered to the country without any contact between the New Zealand crew and the local crew.
A cyclone response meeting's been held between government agencies, donor partners and France and Australia. New Zealand's already pre-positioned supplies in half a dozen Pacific countries.
We've increased our stocks in Auckland by 50% in anticipation that there could be restrictions or inability to get supplies from the rest of the world into our region.
For Tonga, it's anxious times. Less than 3 years ago, it got a battering from Category 4 Cyclone Gita. The Red Cross was the first into homes, giving much-needed help. But there's now concern over the time it's taking to receive cargo supplies with limited air freight and shipping.
It will be arrive here for today. It will take 72 hours. It means 3 days before I can to myself and then do the distribution. So this is the effect of COVID-19 in here, and I can't change it.
Locals are looking at their own solutions. These traditional whales have proven lifesavers in the past, knocking out the walls a family can survive under these hardy structures and shelter after a cyclone.
Build your own whale. It will be better than a tent or the tarpaulin that the Red Cross always distributed.
Despite the closed borders, preparations are in place. Stakeholders confident help will get to those who need it.
Trukai Sports is next. Kilawani is at the sports desk.
Yes, Bradley, our football star in Europe extends his contract, and updates from the National Volleyball Championships. I'll be back after the break.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. Papua New Guinean international football player David Brown has had his contract with HJK Helsinki, a Finland soccer club in Europe, extended until 2022. The PNG couple forward and midfielder has been outstanding in the Finnish championships in Europe. In a statement announcing the deal, the Finland club HJK described Brown as technically skilled, fast and agile, and that in no time he proved to be a competitive and ambitious player. He is the son of Bob Brown, Papua New Guinea's renowned cartoonist, creating Mr. Grassroots, mother from Central Province of Papua New Guinea.
I'm from Papua New Guinea. It's
a country just above Australia and shares a border with Indonesia. Beautiful tropical country, and yeah, it has about 8 million people.
Brown's football journey started in Port Moresby, in the suburb of Calgary at the Living Light Academy. While playing in a development team in Port Moresby Soccer Association, he was regarded by many as the wonder boy of Bicini. This, according to Joseph Aladona, current president of the Port Moresby Soccer Association. This wonder boy ability got him a scholarship in New Zealand. Brown left PNG in 2012 to take up a football scholarship at St. Peter's College in Auckland. He debuted for the 9-time OFC Champions League winners Auckland City at the age of 16 and was part of a team that won a bronze medal at the FIFA Club World Cup in Morocco in 2014.
I previously played in Papua New Guinea, then a couple years in New Zealand, and 3 years in the Netherlands, and a season back in New Zealand, and now I'm here.
His career since has been a success, signing with the Finnish club HJK Helsinki earlier this year. Brown stated that HJK is a great club with so much history.
Helsinki is a great city, and HJK is a great club with so much history, and it's great to be a part of this club.
For the 2020 championships, Brown registered 3 assists to help HJK clinch the 30th Finnish championship in the history of the club. The wonder boy of Bicini becomes the first Papua New Guinean international player to win a National League title in Europe. The finals for the BSP National Volleyball Championships are expected to begin tomorrow following the last pool matches today. 32 teams are vying for this year's honors in the men's and women's divisions respectively in Port Moresby's Tarama Aquatic Centre.
Despite the COVID-19 situation in the country, teams from as far as East Sepik made their presence known after many years of absence in the national titles. The ever-present Huon Gulf from Ley also a team to watch.
Team we work has been away for quite a while and finally returned to the competition, and also Huon Gulf, our regular competitor from Morocco province, also took part, and teams from Central, one from Hula and the other 2 from Central Province, Mekelle area, North Mekelle, and also Inawoi Roosters, regular contenders for the higher honors, have always given a tough challenge to more established associations within the city.
32 teams are competing for this year's top prize. One of the former dominant associations, Taikone, also made a re-entry into the national titles.
We've been out of the radar for 14 years, and for 14 years, we have felt what it feels like to go through that process. For us to come back in this national championship, we feel it's the right time, and it's the right moment for our team to come back and compete at the highest level. So we're very happy to be here and to participate in the national championship.
The Nationals has also provided an avenue for new associations to shine. This included the newly formed Manubara Volleyball Association, a breakaway from the Vabukori Amateur Volleyball Association. The last of the pool matches for the BSP National Volleyball Championships are expected to be completed today before the finals tomorrow.
Most of the teams are now playing their last games, and we should go into crossovers in the 4 pools by this afternoon. And if all goes well, we might have our grand final this afternoon. If not, then first thing tomorrow morning.
Fairfax remains the top team to beat in the Open Men's, while NCD remains the queens for the women's. Bradley Valenaki, Trukai Sports.
And Trukai Sports continues with news on All Blacks and the Kiwi fans. Don't go away.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back. To the All Blacks, Kalen Ponga will be free to walk away from the NRL in 2022, adding to speculation he'll make a run for the All Blacks ahead of the World Cup.
It was in an interview 3 years ago that Kalen Ponga first said he'd love to play for the All Blacks, and the rumour mill has been in overdrive ever since.
That's a quote that everyone takes off, and that's understandable. Realistically,
it will always be there, and it will always be speculation.
Speculation fueled yet again when the NRL released details of his new $4 million contract with Newcastle. Ponga has a 4-year deal with the Knights but can walk out at the end of 2022, as the final 2 years of his contract will only be activated if he chooses. Aussie media have reported all along that Ponga wants to play at the Rugby World Cup in 2023.
Do you feel like you have to come out and say, no, he's not going to the All Blacks?
I mean, he come out and said himself in the announcement of the contract or the new agreement that his main focus is winning a premiership.
Ponga's Māori father, Andre, a big part of planning now that he's taken over as his agent/manager. He says the focus is on rehabbing the shoulder that ruled Ponga out of State of Origin this year, not the All Blacks.
So we're going to get that right. We're going to get him back on the park. Got to get him playing good football again. And the Knights is the focus.
They've had no formal interest from rugby union, although technically he could start taking offers this time next year.
And one of New Zealand's most decorated dual internationals has ended her lustrous 18-year sporting career. She played 32 tests for the Kiwi Ferns and appeared in 6 World Cups across both sports.
As Kiwi Ferns fans watch Hitomi Smiler score at Mount Smart yesterday,
there's the strength and the power that we've seen forever from Hitomi.
Little did they know the outing would be her last.
I think I'm pretty privileged actually to be able to call time on my retirement on my own terms.
That call brings the curtain down on the career of one of the most important female players New Zealand's ever had across both union and league. Over 18 years, Hitomi Smiler also played for the Black Ferns 15 and 7 sides and became a pioneer of the women's game.
And it's Honey Hitomi this time.
It's very humbling to be a part of that. I've had a pretty decent career.
Nicknamed Honeybill for her ability across codes, she was named in the 2014 Rugby World Cup team of the tournament. Later that year, she co-captained the Kiwi Ferns to a famous victory against the Gillaroos. And the 39-year-old believes the Kiwi Ferns jersey is in a good place on and off the field.
And it's evolved every year. I mean, I'm confident to say that the game will be full-time professional for the female athletes within the next 5 years.
With a host of young talent coming through, it's time to hand over to the next generation.
I'm really just keen to mentor these young ones coming through, support them in any way that they would like me to be involved.
With the jersey in safe hands, Hitomi Smiler's focus now switches to her family, with a keen eye still on the game she's been crucial in shaping.
And that story wraps up Trukai Sports. Bradley will be back with the weather report for the next 24 hours. Bye for now.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
Weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow. In the southern region, Port Moresby, rain showers, drizzles with possible thunder tonight, then partly cloudy morning. Daru, rain drizzles, easing tonight, then cloudy morning. Kerema, rain showers, drizzles and thunder tonight, then cloudy morning. Alotau, cloudy tonight with morning rain showers. Popondetta, rain drizzles easing tonight, then fine cloudy morning. Tumase, lay rain showers, possible thunderstorms tonight, then cloudy morning. Medang, fine partly cloudy tonight, then early morning drizzle. Wewak and Vanimo, partly cloudy. To the New Guinea Islands, Lorengau, occasional rain showers and possible thunder tonight, then fine cloudy morning. Kavieng, rain drizzles tonight and fine partly cloudy morning. Kokopo and Rabaul, thundery rain showers easing tonight, then fine cloudy morning. Kimbe, thundery rain showers tonight, then fine cloudy morning. Buka, fine, partly cloudy tonight with morning drizzles. To the highlands now, Mount Hagen, rain showers, drizzles tonight, then morning fog. Goroka and Kundiawa, light rain drizzles tonight, then morning fog. Mendi and Wabeg, rain showers, drizzles tonight, then morning fog.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
The way it is this Monday, the 9th of November 2020, on behalf of the news team, I'm Bradley Valenaki. Pleasant viewing. Good night.